I really wanted to have a really cute background, but the sun is like glaring in my face, so this is just gonna have to do. Welcome to my first ever reading vlog. This is so exciting. I have wanted to film reading vlogs for the longest time, but I don't know, I get so weird when I film content for YouTube. I don't know why. I've decided to film my first ever reading vlog, and for that I have decided to finally read The Lord of the Rings. I've been a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings films for such a long time. I love the whole universe, I love the Hobbit films, all of that, and I've just never sat down and read the books. So I decided to finally do that, and I'm having the best time. I have already read The Hobbit and also The Fellowship of the Ring. Kind of was towards the end of that when I decided to film this reading vlog. So I am now reading Two Towers and I am very close to the end. I think I've got about 100 pages left, so I'm definitely gonna finish that soon. I loved reading The Hobbit. I know The Hobbit is kind of considered a children's book. I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I actually listened to the audiobook of it and it was just so incredible and so much fun, and I loved it a lot. It was such a fun experience to actually read the book and then watch the films, because then I could actually critique it rather than just watching the films for fun. And then I read The Fellowship of the Ring, which I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would. I think I've put off reading these books for such a long time because people have said either they're boring or it's a really long book. Technically it's all one book, but obviously it's split into 3 sections and it's really long. I honestly was just a bit intimidated, but I loved The Fellowship of the Ring. I thought it was incredible. The writing, it was so easy to read. I was really thought for some reason that it would be a really hard read, kind of like reading a classics book, but it was so easy and I loved it. I love all the characters. In terms of the Two Towers, I am really loving it and I'm still really loving reading it. I am kind of reaching a point where I'm like losing my motivation to read, but I don't know, I don't think that's because of the book. I think that's more because I've been reading this series now for quite a while, so my brain's in a bit of like a, you need to pause and just read something else for like 5 minutes. I am really enjoying this. I'm not enjoying it as much as The Fellowship of the Ring, just because I feel like this is definitely a book that's just leading up towards the end of the Fellowship. Obviously, I mean, I was gonna say spoilers if you haven't read or watched the films, but I mean, I don't know why you would have clicked on this if you haven't, but I love that now the Fellowship is obviously all scattered and divided and we're getting different viewpoints. I'm currently back on Frodo and Sam and Gollum's story and I'm really loving it. I love the dynamics between Sam and Gollum. They're my enemies to lovers, even though they're not obviously not lovers, but you know what I mean. Like, I love Sam. Sam is by far my favorite character, without fail. He always has been, but especially reading the books, I'm like, yeah, he definitely is my favorite character. Not that I wasn't that interested, it's more that I felt like it was quite a long section of Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli reuniting with Gandalf and then going to fight, which I love in the films. I don't know, reading about fights to me, I feel like Tolkien does it in a way that's really, it's like a really beautiful writing, but I still don't care. When there's a war, I don't care, which is probably just my fault. And I'm also like, why would I read The Lord of the Rings if I didn't? Like, I knew this was coming, but still. I just like reading about the dynamics between the Fellowship and all of the characters. Wasn't hugely interested in that section, but I do just love the characters so much, especially the friendship between Legolas and Gimli. That's one of my favourite friendships out of the entire franchise. I think it's so fun. And yeah, I'm very excited. So I don't really have any other plans for the rest of today. So pretty much all I'm going to do is try and finish this book so I can get onto the third, because I feel like even though my brain's telling me I should have a break, I don't think that's smart. I feel like if I put down this book, or if I put down the series right now and pick something else up, it will be a very long time before I pick it up again, and I don't want that to happen. I want to finish this series. So I think the rest of the day is just going to be me finishing this book. Just finished Two Towers. Oh my god, it's so interesting reading it to see the choices made by the film, how it's laid out and how the story's told and like the timeline. I think it's so interesting, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get the third book and start reading it immediately. go again. It's a new day. I haven't made that much progress with The Return of the King, or not as much progress as I would like to have made by now. So today, me and two of my best friends were going to have like a little cafe date where we're all going to be productive and everything. So I'm going to bring the book with me to read in a cafe. One of the things that I like to do whenever I'm in like a bit of a reading slump is to change my reading environment. I feel like that always really helps. So I'm going to take it with me to the cafe today and hopefully, fingers crossed, get some reading done. I'm really enjoying it. Actually, I think I've read about 30 pages into it so far. I'm really liking it. Just think I don't want it to end. I really don't want to like finish reading it, because then it's like it's done. And I know I can reread it. I'm probably going to reread it multiple times in my lifetime. But like, because it's my first time reading it, I'm like, I don't want it to end at all. But yeah, that's my plan for today. So hopefully I can get quite a bit of reading done. It is currently Friday. My aim is to finish by Monday. I have a target to finish. I feel like I'm going to be more productive with my reading. Precariously stacked on some books. I'm really praying that you don't fall halfway through this clip. Fingers crossed. I just wanted to sit down and I guess end this video with doing some of my final thoughts. I ended up finishing The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, the whole series. And how would you even review something like this? I in general struggle to review books a lot of the time because I really get in my head about, you know, even if I don't enjoy a book, I'm always like, I don't want to give it a bad review because it might be someone else's favourite book. I always struggle, and I feel like I'm not the most articulate person, so it's really hard for me to put my thoughts into words in a way that people will understand them. And I honestly I feel like I can't give this series the review it deserves, because to say that I've had the best time reading The Lord of the Rings is such an understatement. I'm quite annoyed at myself that I put off reading it for so long. It's just so magical and amazing to read these characters and to understand the characters on a new level that I hadn't known before prior to just watching the films. Being able to fully read the journey and the development that all these characters went on was just something else. I always heard that, you know, Tolkien's world building is on another level. He is quite literally the master of it. But to actually read it on the page, it's just a completely other thing. There was not one part of the books that I didn't feel fully immersed. I felt like I was there, I was going on the journey with them. I was obviously rooting for them the whole time. And I love as well, because when I think about The Lord of the Rings, I think about Frodo and Bilbo. Granted they are, and I guess Aragorn, but granted they are the main characters. But when you read the book, it is really not, it's not as if there are main characters. All of the people in the Fellowship, but then all the extra characters around them, like Treebeard, like Tom Bombadil, all of these characters are so flushed out and so developed in their own way, and they have their own characteristics. You know, they have their own storylines that you can't help but be interested in. It is absolutely amazing, and I do not think I will ever read another series quite like this one. The other thing, I think I mentioned it a little earlier in the vlog, reading the books has also been such an incredible experience, purely from seeing the artistic choices they made with the films, because obviously the films themselves are probably some of the best films ever made, granted. Obviously then no book to film adaptation is going to follow a book down to the exact page, because it just can't translate in that way. So seeing all the choices they made, things they decided to take out or tweak for the films, has been so interesting, and it's made me so much more excited to rewatch the films now, which I'm going to do, so that I can, you know, you see the differences in the choices that they made and what they added in and what they took out. All that in itself adds or takes away from the story. All round, had the best time, and I'm kind of annoyed at myself that it's taken me 22 years on this earth to read The Lord of the Rings. This is your sign. If you haven't read The Lord of the Rings and you've really been thinking about it, this is your sign to pick it up, because I promise you it will be so worth it. I feel so like, I don't know, I feel obviously like it's, I don't know how to put what I'm feeling into words. I just feel crazy. I feel crazy now that I've read that. What I will say is that now that I have read that, I'm probably going to read probably 5 different romances, just so I don't fall into a very severe reading slump. I guess this ends my first ever reading vlog. It was a learning experience in of itself, because I have no idea how and when to film for reading vlogs. I found myself reading at times, thinking to myself, I should be filming this, but then all I do is film myself reading, and I'm like, is that boring? So who knows? I guess I'll learn as I go if I ever do another reading vlog, which I think I will, because I really like now that I have this video of me reading them for the first time. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be hopefully making more videos like this in the future, as well as other sit down videos and just day in a life vlogs. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe down below. I will also have all my other social media linked in the description.